Well, good morning, everyone. Get my volume up here. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the, 27th day of May, 2020. Let me get my notes up here. So, I hope everybody had a good day yesterday. Ours was quite eventful, and we're still dealing with it, so... Oh, heavens to Betsy. Anyway, I won't go into it. But I've been up in the 6 o'clock hour 2 days in a row, and I don't like it. I don't know why we got up this early this morning, but we did. So anyhow, continuing on with the looking at the esoteric influences for the day, instead of just simply the astrology, because I don't know, that gets boring. We still have 6 planets in retrograde affecting our relationships with others. Anytime retrograde happens, especially when you have so many, it really creates a, I don't know, in my view, a loosening effect, possibly, in terms of our perceptions and all of that. It just makes it easier to rethink things and reconsider stuff. So I think that's what we're doing right now. Especially, I mean, the pandemic is basically requiring us to take a hard look at what we're doing. Some people are fine with what they're doing, other people are not, and so I don't know. We'll see where this goes. I think that this last weekend, Memorial Day weekend, is going to tell the story. I shared with everybody that we had an outbreak, if you will, of 8 people at a Mother's Day party here locally in my town. We only had 10 cases here. And now we have 18, and all it took was one Mother's Day party, and 8 people are sick from that party. Yeah, so, or at least have tested positive. I have no idea how they're faring. I mean, some may breeze right through it, others may not. So, that's just seems to be what's going on. So this is not the time to relax any kind of protection. It just isn't. Not while we're coming back together. We don't want to hurt anyone. And that's really what this is about. We don't want to hurt anybody. And then there are some people that don't care. I don't understand that. I really don't. Well, anyway, today's numerology for today is the 27th day, so we're looking at a 9 energy. A situation may be finding its conclusion today. I hope that's true. Or perhaps a threshold of some kind has been reached. Maybe that's true for sure. Let go of perceptions that no longer serve and, do what you're told, in my case. Yeah, that's where we're at. It's like, oh, no, you can't do what you're doing. Oh, yes, I can. Oh, no, you can't. So, anyway, Kenaz is the rune from the esoteric influences for the week. It's not going to be the rune we do here, but it's the one for the week from Esoteric Influences. I do those once a week. They post on Sundays over on the blog at Stepping Aside. So if you want to see the whole thing, go over there. I mean, we still have time on it. It's only Wednesday, so you've got a few more days yet on it. But Kenaz is the rune, and so we're going to want to seek clarity today from Spirit as we maintain our alignment that we were looking for yesterday. Pay attention to intuition and synchronicities and be transformed by them. Kenaz is basically the torch, the light of Spirit, informing our process, our way forward, our perceptions, our interactions, or at least it should be. As long as we don't let ego take over, then that's really what's happening. We're expressing Kenaz in our lives all of the time. Moon's in Leo. Check in with others today and offer support, especially to those who may be experiencing a lot of sadness and loss. That's happening right now, and it's not just people that die. Sometimes it's more than one in a family. Sometimes it's immediate family, and this is just a really difficult time for people right now, and we have to be very careful. So let's see. What else did I say about that? Well, as I said before, the pandemic has taken family and friends. Moving forward, moving anywhere seems impossible. So if you know someone who's struggling, let them know that you're there to help and that they're not alone. And be sure to, do it from a safe distance, obviously, because we still need to do that. This is not the time to let go of restrictions. We just want to be able to come back together. What difference does it make if we do so standing a few feet apart and with a mask on? At least we're together, At least we're together. So that's what's important, not what we look like. You know, if you've got a don't have a floral print mask on, you could draw funny things on it and everybody can laugh. There's one right now, someone's making masks. I saw it on Twitter where it's big lips, and then they have this thing they flip and it opens up into a big toothy smile, and it's the most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my life. And so anyway, there's things you can do. Just do them wearing a mask. Be the warrior, wear a mask. So anyway, from the human design and I Ching section of the esoteric influences for the week, we're going to be using some caution today so that delusional thinking doesn't impact any progress we make. You know, the sun where it's placed, sometimes the sun can get, you know, it's about the self, and so you can get kind of overly so, you know. So you want to be careful there. You want to make sure that you use some sensitivity now, so that a measure of practicality and fundamental quality continue to enhance our choices. We can circle the drain, or we can, you know, try to keep our thoughts lofty and make the best decisions possible right now. Let's see, what else do I have here? The north and south nodes of the moon, their placement, they're both suggesting continuing to stay the course and engaging in right action. So I don't know. Change may occur now as more people begin to experience the simple cause and effect of their own behavior. I mean, think the Mother's Day barbecue in my town, and now 8 people are sick. So I don't know, you know, you can either glean something from that happened and not make the same choice, or I guess you're going to make the same choice and maybe experience it that way. But to me, I would think you wouldn't want to experience this at all. I don't know. But that's Mercury's placement, and with its involvement in the channel of openness, a new societal form may emerge from this crisis. That's one thing that I thought was really fascinating by this placement. It's going to be one. It seems to indicate one that preserves a shared path forward instead of one that wishes our collective destruction or demise, or our collective harmony. So the active channels that are active right now, there were like 5 on Monday and Tuesday, but today 3 of them have dropped off, and we have just the channel of awareness and the channel of openness. And what that's suggesting is that we need to pay attention to our intuition and know what we know. That's the thing. It's the design. That channel represents the design of a thinker, but it's not. But it's the connection of the head center with the Anya center. So we're basically, what we're doing there is we're creating a channel of intuition. So and I have that active in my birth chart, in my natal chart. And it describes perfectly what I do and how I perceive things. But I just find the human design stuff really fascinating. I think it's really prescient, and it just gets to the heart of the matter. I mean, who knew that creating a system that blends, you know, the I Ching, you know, hexagrams and all the different lines in them with planetary positions could be so incredible, but it really is. So I recommend it. Go over there and read it and see what you think. See and just see if it actually aligns with your day. It typically aligns with the perception of my day, so I don't know. I would imagine it will with other people. You can find something in there, I'm sure. But in any event, let's go ahead and get started with the reading. The most important thing I think to know about all of this right now, and what we've been seeing, is that with this 22 year, a soul level change is in play. It's like, you know, soul has finally said, okay, ascension's here. We need to start remembering who we are, and that we're souls and not the bodies. And so we need to come together and realize that we're one and start behaving as such. It doesn't mean that we're always going to like everybody. It doesn't mean there won't be individual differences. It just means that we understand that we're essentially one in the Creator, and then that's important to us. I guess that's the main thing, is that being one in the Creator is everything to us. See, and that's what it should be. So doesn't mean we're not going to have differences, because out of that new innovation comes and all of that. So it's not that. It's just that we need to have a less us versus them experience here, and understand that when we see the other, in fact, we're seeing the other side of self. So I don't know. We better figure it out. So let's go ahead, though, and we'll take our first 3 cards. Let me get the geomancy runes over here and ready for later. And there's my rune bag. I forgot it out in the living room yesterday. I had to use a different set of runes when I did yesterday's reading. So anyway, let's go ahead. But let's go ahead and take our first 3 cards and see what they have to say. If we need more, we'll take them. But otherwise, we'll see what these have to say. If this is your first time here, welcome. I take the 13th card each time for randomness sake, and we start with the 4 of Cups. Which I don't know about you, but I sort of, view as a pity party and not, able to accept help from others maybe, or accept emotional compassion, maybe compassion for others or something. Let's see, what is going on here? Oh, my shawl is in the way. It's like, why can't I shuffle? My shawl's in the way. But he's sitting there with his back up against the tree. His arms are folded. His legs are crossed. He sees the cups on the ground, but he's too wrapped up in his own emotions right now to see what's going on. It's a single-minded focus, and he can't see what's being offered. But we'll look at that a little bit more closely when we see the other cards. Oh, well, the 10 of Swords, darkest before the dawn. Gone as far as we can go. So yeah, I guess that's the air element. The other's the water element. Cups is our emotions, and the water element. Swords is our intellect and reason and balance and justice and all of that. And there, our thoughts have just, taken us to a place that they can no longer sustain us. So, perception run amok. Maybe it's indicative of what we're experiencing here in our little neighborhood. It's like, come on, we're all on the same page here. You don't have a choice in that. Well, here we have the King of Swords. I think we're going to put him in the middle. We're going to talk about him as a significator. Excuse me. A lot of pollen in the air right now. Oh, we have juniper everywhere. I say this every day, but it's true. Some days I go out there, and if I brush by something, you'll see all this gold pollen come off of it. It doesn't matter if it's a tree or a shrub or whatever. It's blooming right now, and you literally, you can touch it and you can watch it fly off. Instantly, my eyes swell, my sinuses swell. It's awful. I hate it. Anyway, let's use the king as the significator. You can see that his sword is not really standing straight up, so there's some manipulation going on with this guy. And it's in his favor. You can see that it's angled toward his right, so that would be toward the projective side of self, or the masculine side of self. And it doesn't indicate gender, by the way. It's energetic. And so you're going to have with masculine, or it'd be a projective type of a push energy. We all have an aura, and our aura has a quality. Some are enveloping. Mine is enveloping, so I draw people in. It's magnetic. So there you could look at it as a negative or a feminine type of an energy, whereas, you're looking at a positive, or, if you're talking electrons, you got negative, you got positive. So you've got the positive for the masculine, for the projective, for the push energy. My husband has a push energy. I have a receptive. I'm an empath. If he stands above me and he's irritated about something, he's ranting, or if he's just making a point or whatever, and he's not angry with me or anything, I do this further and further and further, because I feel that energy hitting me like the heat wave when you open an oven hits you. It just blasts you in the face. That's how I see it. It's how I feel it. It's awful. And so, poor guy, sometimes he'll see it and realize, and he'll go, uh-oh, and he'll back up, sorry, and he'll back up, right? Say, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But recognize that that's there. It's not in your imagination. It's really happening. And it has to do with the quality of the aura. So the king's aura is going to be largely a push energy, given his position. But here we have a guy who is deceptive. You see the brown clouds behind him, which indicates deception. If they were white, there would be more purity involved in the expression, but he's hiding something. So something about this messaging, given us the swords, we're talking the air element, so messaging, so intellect, communication, all of that, reason, balance, but something is off. Something isn't right. There's some deception afoot. Somebody's trying to get away with something. Now, maybe they've discovered that they can't get away with something, and so the offering that's being made, again, out of a darker cloud, but not as dark as this. You see the difference? You see the difference in shade? Whereas this is about deception, the darkness there. This is just about the hand coming out from the unknown, it offering to help. You know, I oftentimes read this as a pity party, but I'm not sure that I'm going to do that right now. And I say that because if this is something that's collective for us, for all of us, you know, as in a country, in this country, this is kind of where we all feel right now, a lot of us, where we're just sitting back and we don't know what to think about things. We really don't. We're watching people get sick and die. We're watching people we love suffer. We're watching a very, very backwards approach and response by the federal government, who has it in their power to help all of us and yet doesn't. The stimulus money that should be coming in monthly is not. So this is what I'm saying. Small businesses that should be able to get a loan to stay afloat are not, and yet you're just supposed to show up for work, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how you do that right now. It's because here's the thing. Until businesses can open fully and normal traffic starts coming through, those small businesses are still going to need help to survive. And the federal government needs to provide that instead of sending ventilators to Russia. Okay, that's what I'm saying. They're doing the opposite of what they should do to help the country survive this. The absolute opposite. Can you believe that? I can't. Well, I mean, I can, because, you know, I've known who this guy is, so I don't know. None of this surprises me, but it's shocking. It's shocking what we go through. And I think that we all end up just like this, because we're afraid. We're living in fear and doubt because we don't know what to expect anymore, other than more pain and more suffering. So when something's offered, maybe we don't see it. So I encourage you, you know, if that happens to you, we were talking about earlier, where was it? Was it north and south? Oh, yeah. Mercury, conjunct north and south nodes of the moon. We're going to be watching for synchronicities regarding a new path. And it could be, the new path could have something to do with openness and sociability and connection and accepting help from others. Here's the thing. Some of us are really good at offering help, but we're not so good at accepting it. And this is a time of reciprocity and the blessing of that. So if somebody offers you some help, if somebody just offers you a kind word, bless them for it, because it matters now. It really, really matters now. Because here we are. We've gone as far as we can go. I'm telling you, head and heart, this is where we are. We don't know who to trust. We don't know who to accept help from. We don't know what to do. I see people commenting on Twitter constantly now. Okay, so now that it's opening, is anybody going to go? Are you going to be wearing a mask if you do? Yes. I've been going out every 2 weeks. You know, I have to. So, you know, I wear a mask, I wear gloves. I'm not going to stop doing that. So yeah, I'm going to go out and I'm going to wear a mask. I am, however, going to choose where I go and not go into places that, you know, are filled with a bunch of people with no masks on. And if the grocery store is going to freewheel it, I don't know. I may just drive to Bend and go to Costco because they're not. They're requiring masks and gloves to go in there. I just may start shopping there. I don't know. It's just how I feel. It's the choice I will make. So again, you see how opening up businesses may not be what people think it is. And if we're not going to do it and protect everybody involved, it's going to blow up on us, right? But here, it looks bad, doesn't it? But the 10 is a 1 energy, and so we're looking at new beginnings. Although we don't see the sun, we see the glow of it above the mountains, underneath the dark sky that's beginning to lift. We've gone as far as we can go. There's 10 swords in our back, and we're dead on the ground. But what are those swords? I view them as perception. And so whether it's the king who needs to control what deception he's doing, we need a new perspective. There needs to be the dawn of a new day. Wouldn't it be cool? Let's do it. Let's take our rune now. And wouldn't it be cool if it was Degas? Because that would mean a new day. And that would be totally synchronistic. I mean the moon conjunct north and south nodes, in action, really. Well, it's Uruz, just as good. Second rune of the Elder Futhark. Let's see, yes, Fehu's the first, Uruz is the second. Why do I have a 9 there? Oh, I must have been typing and my cursor went up weird. Here we go. Yeah, the second one is Uruz, and Uruz, and this is not my interpretation, it's drizzle. And I love that. It's just the coolest interpretation, drizzle. What it is, it's not the force that manifests, okay? Okay, just sort of visualize that in your head for a moment. The force that manifests, okay? So my choice to do something that manifests something, okay? That's the force to manifest. My will is, right, I'm choosing to do this. That's the force. But there's a force behind it. There's a force behind that choice. And that's your spirit, that's your soul. That's the higher self informing the choice. And so really, Uruz is the higher self, manifesting our whole experiences here. Assuming we listen, by the way, and the ego doesn't take over and try to control the whole experience. That's what's happened to bring us here. Ego has run amok. Mr. Ego has run amok and doing things deceptively that cannot be. And now we've just gone as far as we can go. And now we've got to proceed on differently. And we're going to have to take the reins of things. We're going to have to take back control. Even if it's something as simple as being the warrior within and wearing a mask when you're out. You're not being weak by wearing one. You know what you're doing by wearing one? You're saying to the world that's watching, you matter. This is really not even about you. It's about keeping someone else safe. You're keeping yourself safe. Let's face it. The masks reduce the transmission. The cloth masks may not stop it entirely, but it reduces the possibility of transmission, especially if both people are wearing them. Why can't we just do that? I think you've got to ask people. You got to look at people that are resisting this, and you got to wonder, man, what's in your heart? Seriously, what's in your heart? Is there anything there? Is there any love there? Is there any compassion in there? Surely there's some. Surely you've experienced it in your life, and you can do it again. Wear a mask. Be the forming force behind the cure, behind the flattening of the pandemic. Be the forming force by wearing a mask. Yeah. Let's look at the geomancy rune and see what we have there. Okay, I need my light here so I can see what's what. Well, we've got a single dot for fire. Where's air? There's air. A single dot for air, 2 dots for water, and 1 dot for earth. So we have Pure. That's little boy energy. There's little girl energy, Puella or Puella, however you want to say it. And Pure or puer is the little boy energy. So what we're talking about is lack of impulse control. You know, these are not evil influences. They're just, you know, scattered thinking. The puella is going to be scattered thinking and lost focus and things like that. But I was a puella growing up, and I was, you know, scattered and flighty and talkative, and, you know, just you know, here's the thing about witches, especially when you're little. If you know you're a witch when you're born, when you're small, you realize it then. Some of us don't come to this until later on in life, where you just, I don't know, you've just felt this weird calling toward witchcraft all your life, and then suddenly you just said, okay, I'm going to dive in and figure out what this is, right? And a lot of people do that. They're doing it now, especially. A lot of witches, I think, are awakening right now as to who they are. I, however, have known this since I was a wee one, and with nobody telling me, right? And it's likely due to the awarenesses I have, the empath, the intuition, all that. I'm sure that's what prompted all of it, because people, my mother would look at me like, how do you know that? There's no way. Were you listening? You know, it's like, no, I wasn't here, Mom. I was at school. You know, I don't know. No, I don't. No, I just know. So I made people uncomfortable, and, you know, so it just, anyway, I struggled with the whole witchcraft thing. I always kept it quiet. I didn't even tell my husband. I mean, the crystals were everywhere, the incense, the runes, all of that stuff was everywhere. I was talking about all kinds of things, you know, but, you know, you never tell. You just never tell. Nowadays you do, but back in the day, so to speak, back in the day, you didn't tell. You didn't tell anybody unless you were in a coven, and then they knew. But I've never been into the whole coven thing. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure it's fun, but I don't know about that. I don't think so. But anyway, this is Pure, and this is Puella. So right here, though, we're looking, I raised two boys, so I know what little boy energy is like. They're vibrant, they're fun, they're everywhere, you have to watch them because they do stuff. My youngest, we had to keep him away from knives, because anything sharp, because he would cut himself. I mean, he would be doing something and, you know, slip. And so somehow or another, he got a hold of this is when they were homeschooling. He got a hold of an arrow tip. And if you've ever seen one, they're like, I don't know, 4 pieces to it. And they're really, really sharp. And so I didn't know he had it. I don't even know. We don't have those things here. So where he got that, I don't even know. Maybe he found it somewhere on the property. I don't know. We got 5 acres, so who knows? But it was here, and he had it. And of course, you know, he cut himself. And so he comes in, and he's cut himself. It wasn't a big cut, you know, but he needed a Band-Aid. And so he just handed it to me. And I handed him a Band-Aid, basically. So that's what this is about, right? It's about the energy to just, you know, lack impulse control. And I know, and he also had a knife at one point, and he cut himself with that. And so this is when we were trying to figure out why are you being unsafe? What are you doing? Why are you using this without adult supervision and all that, right? So we're trying to figure out what's going on so he can still have this, right? But maybe he can't, right? So we need to figure this. So we're still in the figuring it out stage when all this is happening, right? So but that time he just comes and hands me the knife and says, I can't be trusted with this. And so that's poor energy, okay? And I mean, he was getting to the point where he was self-correcting, obviously, and knew that this was just not something he could have. I can't have knives. If I got into this place where I was cutting up chicken, buying whole chickens and cutting them up, instead of buying, packaged chicken that was in pieces, parts, I said, well, I'm not going to do that. I'll cut it up myself. Well, you know, I almost lose a digit when I do that. So it's like, this must be genetic for him or something. It's just like, some people can handle knives and some people can't. I have never been able to handle them. I always cut myself. I'm careful, and but I always do. So there are always Band-Aids in the kitchen ready for me because I need them. So anyway, so sometimes this Puella energy, the opposite of Pure, doesn't go away, I think. So anyway. But that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with some scattered energy right now, and we need to focus it. We need to focus it with urus, the energy of urus, to manifest something a little bit different. I think that some of these folks that are confused about what this whole thing is, this lady, I saw a video last night of this woman who was upset. I think she was doing a video in her car, maybe. I don't know. Maybe she was in her house. I don't know. It kind of looked like the car, though. I don't know why people do that in the car, by the way. But anyway, especially if you're driving. But anyway, she's all upset because she went to her doctor, and her doctor is very upset at what the guy in the Oval Office is doing vis-a-vis other drugs. Apparently, she was probably there to get a prescription for hydroxychloroquine. Is likely what this was, and he wasn't giving it to her, right? And so she's crying and upset, and just, because her doctor is against the president, and oh my God, how awful is that? This is what we're contending with. How do you get there? How do you start thinking that way? I don't even understand. So in any event, this push to being anti-science is so short-sighted. Spirituality and science has got to, and technological increases and advancements, they all have to be balanced together. And I realize sometimes technology overtakes and overshadows spirituality, but that's not what this is. Okay, that's what we're seeing now is not a struggle with that. It's a struggle of sovereignty that should not be there at all. This is not about your personal sovereignty. This is about survival. It's about understanding when deception is taking place and what we need to do about it, to work around it. We're kind of, we've been there for a long time now. The deception factor of the government, the federal government right now, is so high, so massive, that you have to wade through it. And sometimes it's just best just to ignore it and know what you know. And that's a lot of what, the esoteric influences are for today. It's just knowing what you know. If you're doing something that just simply feels wrong, then stop doing it. If you feel like going out, you see other people wearing masks, you feel like, God, I should be doing that too, then put one on. Go home and make one. I don't care if you got to tie something around your face. Protect yourself. Protect everyone else. Be part of that line of energy instead of the one that struggles, right? And tries to harm people, because there are people that are trying to do that too. I read an article where what is it? It is a store called Wegmans. I don't have that where we live, but the name seems familiar, so it must be. I don't know where it is. Maybe it's East Coast. Wegmans. Some guy purposefully coughed on a store personnel, I guess, or something. Yeah, felony. So we got arrested. It's felony. So I think, we're going to start to see more of that, unfortunately, and if people don't realize what they're doing. So control the impulse control the poor within, and understand that there's some cause and effect to your behavior. And if you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, stop it. Just stop it. That's all you got to do. Choose a better path. I don't know. Choose one of cooperation. Choose one of respect for others. And we'll get through this together. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. I guess that's it. I don't really have anything else to share here. But yeah, check out the blog. Today's Wednesday, so I might do something for Medium today. We have to actually take a pump in for service, and so out of our water association, my husband and another guy, they pulled one of the pumps, the centrifugals. Our system's really simple. There's a submersible in the ground. There's a cistern. It pumps water into the cistern. There's another pump, a pump, a centrifugal pump on above ground inside the pump house that then pumps the water from the cistern to all the homes. Sometimes, every few years or so, the centrifugals have to go in for service. So that's what they're doing, and we've got to take that in here. So my husband wants to get that done here sooner than later. And then he's got to go back over to the repair and see what the heck hopefully they haven't touched it any further. So, and then we're going to fix it. So anyway, I don't know though. We'll have to see. Maybe he won't go back till later tonight with someone else. But all I know is that today is just going to be a day where we're going to need to use our intuition, and we're going to need to pay attention to what the synchronicities that happen. I think we're going to find some messages there that may inform our way forward. So thanks so much for watching. Come back tomorrow. Click subscribe. I'd love you to do that. Check out the blog at imsteppingaside.com, and be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.